The human stopped screaming after the third shock. Captain Kriveth Dolmar watched through the observation panel as his interrogation specialist delivered another pulse from the neural disruptor. The prisoner's body went rigid, muscles locking as artificial pain signals flooded his nervous system. But when the pulse ended, the human simply sagged in his restraints, breathing hard, and said nothing. "Impressive pain tolerance," Shren commented, her scaled fingers dancing across the control interface. She was a Varsian, reptilian, and cold-blooded in both physiology and temperament. Most species break after the first application. Humans usually last until the fourth or fifth. This one has endured 11 cycles. Kriveth studied the prisoner more carefully. The human was unremarkable by galactic standards, bipedal, bilateral symmetry, relatively small frame compared to most mercenary species. His combat armor had been stripped away, leaving him in a dark tactical bodysuit. No visible augmentations. No obvious enhancements. Just biology and will. "Increase the intensity," Kriveth ordered. "I want to know what ship he came from and what his unit was doing in the Kethros sector. The Terran coalition has no legal claim to this region." "Understood." Shren adjusted the settings. The prisoner's eyes opened. They were an unremarkable gray, but something in their depths made Kriveth uneasy. The human looked directly at the observation panel, directly at him, though the panel was supposed to be one-way opaque, and smiled. "You are wasting your time," the prisoner said in perfect standard, his voice rough but steady. "I have nothing to say to mercenary filth." Kriveth felt his crest bristle with indignation. The Dorvathy were a proud warrior species, and being called filth by a captured enemy was an insult that demanded response. "Deliver maximum intensity," he commanded. "Captain, that level could cause permanent neural damage," Shren warned. "The human insulted my honor." "Deliver the pulse." Shren hesitated, then complied. The neural disruptor shrieked as it channeled energy into the prisoner. Every muscle in the human's body contracted simultaneously. Blood vessels burst in his eyes. His jaw clenched so hard that teeth cracked. The pulse lasted 5 seconds. When it ended, Kriveth expected the prisoner to be unconscious or begging for mercy. Instead, the human laughed. It was not hysteria. It was genuine amusement, dark and cold. "Is that the best you can do?" he asked, spitting blood onto the floor. "I have had worse hangovers." "Who are you?" Kriveth demanded, suddenly very interested in the answer. "No one important," the human replied. "Just another soldier." "Soldiers have identification codes. Soldiers have unit designations. You are wearing Terran Coalition tactical gear but no insignia. You are operating alone in a contested sector with no support and no backup. That suggests special operations. That suggests you are more than just another soldier." The human said nothing, but the smile did not fade. Kriveth left the observation room and entered the interrogation chamber. Up close, the prisoner looked even less impressive. He stood perhaps 180 centimeters tall, maybe 80 kilograms in mass. Kriveth towered over him by half a meter and outweighed him by 60 kilograms of dense muscle and reinforced bone structure. "I am Captain Kriveth Dolmar of the Crimson Lance Mercenary Company," he said formally. "You are my prisoner under the laws of military engagement. Identify yourself." "No." "Then you are a spy and I can execute you immediately without trial." "Then do it," the human said calmly. "But you will not. You captured me because you want intelligence. You want to know what the Terran coalition is planning. You want leverage. Killing me gains you nothing." Kriveth felt grudging respect for the prisoner's tactical assessment. It was accurate. The Crimson Lance had been hired by the Vrexian Confederacy to patrol the disputed territories along the Kethros sector. Capturing a Terran operative was valuable. Dead, the human was worthless. "You will talk eventually," Kriveth said. "Everyone does. Maybe. But not today. And probably not tomorrow. By then, it will be too late for you." "What does that mean?" The human just smiled. Kriveth returned to the observation room, his mind churning. Something about this prisoner felt wrong. The pain tolerance was extraordinary even for a human. The confidence was unshakable. And that statement, "It will be too late for you," carried the weight of certainty. Scan his biometrics again, he ordered. Cross-reference with Terran military databases. I want to know who this human is. Quilex, his intelligence officer, worked at the terminal for several minutes before shaking his insectoid head. The databases are fragmentary, Captain. The Terran Coalition restricts access to personnel files for security reasons. But I am detecting unusual neural implants. Military-grade combat wetware. Neural acceleration processors. Threat assessment overlays. This equipment is consistent with Special Operations Forces. Which branch? Impossible to determine. But there are notations in his biochemistry that suggest extensive augmentation. Pain suppression. Adrenaline regulation. Accelerated healing factors. This human has been modified for sustained combat operations. Kriveth felt the first whisper of concern. Special operations soldiers were dangerous, but the Crimson Lance had dealt with them before. What worried him was the human's absolute lack of fear. In his 20 years as a mercenary, he had learned that fearlessness usually meant one of two things: insanity or absolute confidence in rescue. What about his equipment? Kriveth asked. What can we learn from that? Standard Terran Coalition tactical armor. Ablative plating. Energy dispersion weave. Nothing unusual. His weapons were basic infantry loadout. Plasma rifle. Sidearm. Combat knife. But there was one anomaly. Quilex brought up an image on the display. It showed a small patch that had been attached to the human's armor. The patch was black with silver lettering. A single word. Reaper. The name hit Kriveth like a physical blow. By the eternal void, Shren whispered. That cannot be accurate. What is a Reaper? Kriveth demanded, though something in his genetic memory already knew the answer carried weight. Quilex pulled up classified intelligence files, his mandibles clicking nervously. Reaper is not a name, Captain. It is a callsign. One of 12 such callsigns in the Terran Coalition military. They belong to members of an organization called the Ghost Directive. Elite operators who handle missions too dangerous or too sensitive for conventional forces. How dangerous are we talking about? According to the intelligence briefs, a single Ghost Directive operator is considered tactically equivalent to a full platoon of conventional soldiers. They operate alone or in small teams. Their mission parameters include deep reconnaissance, high-value target elimination, and asset recovery in hostile territory. There are fewer than 30 active Ghost Directive operators in the entire Terran military. Kriveth felt his blood chill. And we captured one. If the callsign is legitimate, yes. Could it be fake? Could the human be impersonating a ghost operator? Possible but unlikely. The pain tolerance, the augmentations, the equipment all support the identification. And Captain, there is something else you should know. According to the intelligence files, Ghost Directive policy is explicit. If an operator is captured, the Terran Coalition will deploy all available resources to recover them. They do not negotiate. They do not pay ransoms. They send in their own people. More ghost operators. Exactly. The implications were devastating. The Crimson Lance was a competent mercenary company with 40 combat-capable personnel and 3 ships. They had been hired to patrol a border sector and discourage Terran expansion. They had not been hired to fight Special Operations Forces. How long until they come for him? Kriveth asked. Unknown. But given that we captured him 18 hours ago, we should assume they are already en route. Kriveth made a decision. We turn him over to our employers. The Vrexian Confederacy wanted intelligence on Terran operations. This prisoner is worth more than we can handle safely. Let them deal with the consequences. The Vrexians will not pay us if we simply deliver the prisoner and leave, Shren pointed out. Our contract requires us to extract intelligence first. Then we do it quickly. Prepare the chemical interrogation protocols. I want everything he knows uploaded to data cores within the next 6 hours. Then we hand him over and get out of this sector before his friends arrive. They moved the prisoner to a medical bay and strapped him to an examination table. The chemical interrogation required injecting a compound that broke down cognitive resistance. It was more reliable than pain but took time to administer properly. The human watched them prepare with apparent curiosity. You figured out who I am, he said. It was not a question. We know your callsign, Kriveth confirmed. Reaper. Ghost Directive. That means you are valuable. That also means you are expendable. Your own people have written you off. They will not negotiate for your release. No, they will not negotiate, the human agreed. They will just come. Let them. We will be long gone by then. You will not be fast enough. Kriveth ignored the statement and nodded to the medical technician. Begin the procedure. The technician injected the first compound. It was designed to relax neural barriers and make subjects more compliant. Within minutes, most species became talkative and cooperative. The human just closed his eyes. How long before it takes effect? Kriveth asked. 15 minutes for full potency. But I am detecting unusual resistance. His augmentations are attempting to filter the compound from his bloodstream. Increase the dosage. Captain, too much could kill him. Do it anyway. They increased the dosage twice. The human's vital signs fluctuated but remained stable. 20 minutes passed. 30. 40. Finally, the technician admitted defeat. It is not working. His body is metabolizing the compound faster than we can administer it. I have never seen anything like this. Then we use more direct methods, Kriveth said, drawing his sidearm. He pressed the weapon to the human's temple. Talk or I will execute you here and now. The human opened his eyes. The pupils were dilated from the drugs, but the intelligence behind them was sharp. You will not kill me. You need the intelligence I carry. But even if you torture me for 1,000 years, I will tell you nothing useful. That is what the training is for. That is what the augmentations are for. You cannot break me, Captain. You are wasting time you do not have. Then what do you suggest? Let me go. Immediately. Flee this sector. Never return. If you do this, I will recommend mercy when my people find you. And they will find you. Kriveth laughed. You expect me to release you because you threaten me? I am a Dorvathy warrior. I do not fear human soldiers. Then you are a fool, the human said quietly. The Ghost Directive does not send soldiers. They send nightmares. Before Kriveth could respond, the ship's alarms screamed to life. Red emergency lighting flooded the corridors. Over the intercom, his first officer's voice crackled with panic. Captain, to the bridge. We are under attack. Kriveth ran to the bridge, leaving guards to watch the prisoner. What he found there turned his concern into terror. The tactical display showed 6 ships approaching at high velocity. They were Terran coalition vessels, but not military types he recognized. They were small, fast, and heavily armed. And they were broadcasting a signal on all frequencies. Ghost Directive Emergency Response. Surrender the captured operative immediately or face terminal force. You have 60 seconds to comply. How did they get here so fast? Kriveth demanded. They must have been tracking him, his first officer said. The moment we captured him, they knew. They have been closing the distance for the past 18 hours. Can we fight them? 6 ships against our 3? Not if they are as dangerous as the intelligence suggests. Kriveth made a decision born of desperation. Send a message to the Vrexian Confederacy. Tell them we need immediate military support. Then prepare to release the prisoner. Captain, our reputation. Our reputation means nothing if we are dead. Release him. They brought the human to the airlock. He walked calmly, his expression unreadable. As they removed his restraints, Kriveth spoke. You were right. We were not fast enough. But before you go, answer one question. How many more like you are there? The human rubbed his wrists where the restraints had chafed. In the Ghost Directive? Fewer than 30. But Captain, you do not understand. It does not matter how many of us there are. What matters is what we represent. We are the promise that the Terran coalition makes to every human soldier. No matter where you are. No matter how deep behind enemy lines. No matter how impossible the odds. We will come for you. We will bring you home. That is what those 6 ships represent. That is what I represent. You are saying your government values individual soldiers that much? I am saying that humanity learned a long time ago that you cannot build a strong military on expendable troops. Every soldier matters. Every life has value. When we tell our people that we will never leave them behind, we mean it. That is why you never stood a chance. The moment you captured me, you triggered a response that cannot be stopped or negotiated with. Those ships out there? They will burn through your entire fleet to get me back. Not because I am special. But because I am theirs. Kriveth felt something shift in his understanding. His species had served in dozens of wars. They fought for money, for honor, for territory. But this concept, this absolute refusal to abandon even a single soldier, was alien to his experience. Why are you telling me this? Because you deserve to understand what you faced. You are a mercenary, not a monster. You treated me as well as could be expected under the circumstances. I will tell my people that. It might matter when they decide your fate. The airlock opened. The human stepped into the chamber. Before the inner door closed, he turned back. One more thing, Captain. My actual name is Jackson Breck. First Lieutenant, Ghost Directive. You can tell your Vrexian employers that the Kethros sector is now under Terran protection. Any further incursions will be met with terminal force. We do not start wars, but we finish them. The outer airlock opened and Jackson Breck floated into space. One of the Ghost Directive ships swept in immediately, recovering him with practiced efficiency. The communication channel crackled to life. A new voice spoke, female and cold. This is Commander Adrian Vale, Ghost Directive. Captain Dolmar, you have been granted clemency for releasing Lieutenant Breck without harm. Depart this sector immediately. If we detect your presence here again, there will be no second chance. Is that understood? Understood, Kriveth said, his pride wounded but his survival instinct stronger. The Ghost Directive ships formed up and accelerated away, disappearing into faster-than-light transit within seconds. They had come like a hammer strike, recovered their operative, and vanished before the Vrexian military could respond. In the silence that followed, Shren spoke quietly. Captain, what do we tell our employers? Kriveth considered carefully. The Vrexian Confederacy had hired the Crimson Lance to push against Terran expansion. They had expected to face conventional military forces. Instead, they had encountered something far more dangerous. An enemy that valued its soldiers enough to deploy overwhelming force for a single captured operative. We tell them the truth, Kriveth said. We tell them that the humans are not like other species. They do not fight wars of attrition. They do not consider their soldiers expendable. We tell them that every human captured triggers a response that will cost more than the intelligence gained. And we tell them that if they want to fight the Terran coalition, they will have to find someone else to do it. They will not be pleased. No. But they will be informed. And that is all we owe them. 3 days later, as the Crimson Lance departed the Kethros sector for the last time, Kriveth received an encrypted message. The source was untraceable, but the content was clear. Thank you for understanding. Some wars are not worth fighting. Jackson Breck, Callsign Reaper. Criveth deleted the message but kept the lesson. He had spent 20 years as a mercenary, fighting for whoever would pay. He had faced dozens of species across hundreds of battlefields. But only now did he truly understand what made humanity dangerous. It was not their weapons. It was not their technology. It was not even their tactical skill. It was their refusal to leave anyone behind. Their absolute certainty that every soldier mattered. That bond of loyalty was stronger than armor and more devastating than any weapon. The Crimson Lance took contracts after that, but never against the Terran coalition. Some enemies, Criveth learned, were better left alone. Not because they were stronger, but because they were willing to pay any price to protect their own. And that, more than anything else, made them truly dangerous. The galaxy learned the lesson slowly. The Vrexian Confederacy tried 3 more border incursions. Each time, Ghost Directive operators appeared like phantoms. Each time, the cost in ships and personnel was catastrophic. Within a year, the Vrexians sued for peace. Other species took note. The Terran coalition expanded slowly but steadily, not through conquest but through the reputation of soldiers who never broke and commanders who never surrendered them. The Ghost Directive became legend. Their call signs were whispered with fear across a dozen sectors. Reaper, Gravedigger, Widow, Shadow, Wraith. Names that promised one thing: if you captured a human soldier, you had not won a victory. You had triggered a response that would hunt you to the ends of the galaxy. And somewhere in the black between stars, Jackson Breck continued his missions. He never spoke about his capture. He never mentioned the mercenary captain who had chosen wisdom over pride. But he remembered. In war, the enemy you did not have to kill was almost as valuable as the battle you did not have to fight. Almost. If you enjoyed this story, please like the video and subscribe for more. Thank you.